for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled is opera star Milena Kitic and artistic director Dakin Matthews. Milena Kitic was born and raised and educated in Belgrade, the former Yugoslavia. She's a mezzo-soprano who made her debut in 1989 at the Yugoslavian Opera, and in less than 10 years she earned the German Music Critics Award as Performer of the Year in her role for Carmen. Where was that?
It was in Germany, in Essen, where I spent approximately 3 years in the fast engagement, so-called. And I sang Carmen with them for about 2 seasons, somewhere around 45 performances within those 2 seasons. And I was very proud that I earned that award actually from their reviewers, from the critics, German critics, and the audience.
Who are very tough. They're very tough critics.
Absolutely.
So you had to really show what you could do. And it was less than 10 years after you'd finished your
When you
studies.
put it so nicely in those years, it even sounds, even for me, amazing. I wasn't aware it was really within just 10 years. It sounds.
Did it seem
great.
long?
To me, of course, it seemed very long, much longer than.
You won that Critics Award for Carmen, and
Yes.
you sang Carmen all over Europe. You sang it in Austria, you sang it in the Netherlands, you sang it in Belgium. When you sing the same role, you're the same person, you're the mezzo-soprano, right, singing
Yes.
the role. What happens with, say, the conductor or your Don Jose or the different people? Does it make a difference?
Of course it does. It's always a different cast of people, always different soprano, different tenor, different conductor, different crew. So, of course, it always makes a difference. And it always inspires us to give our best, to adjust to every single singer's needs and acting abilities and singing abilities and so on. And it makes always a wonderful cooperation and challenge.
But there's so many different things going on stage, isn't there? There's the costumes and the lighting, and then if you have this large, Carmen has a huge cast, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and a huge chorus. Even though I did play some Carmens which didn't include, for instance, chorus. And that
they
performance, yes, it's called La Tragédie de Carmen, and it's actually Peter Brook's version and Marius Constance. And that was also a very, very interesting version. That one, that Carmen I performed throughout also Belgium and Germany and Austria and Netherlands and Prague, including Prague, Czechoslovakia.
How often are you moving around? We talk about those things. I mean,
very often. It's very tough on family life.
Is
it? Yes, very, 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 very often.
And then also, besides moving around, taking lessons. Do you take lessons while you're moving around?
Well, while I work on a particular role, if I'm in the engagement, then of course I devote myself totally to that role.
And
but
so what do you do?
In between, of course, I do work on other roles with my teacher that I'm very proud of.
Your
and
teacher comes and follows you from some of the cities. What's her name?
Her name is Biserka Cvejić, and she was a big, big star with the Metropolitan Opera, with Vienna Staatsoper, and I was very lucky and fortunate to meet her. And she actually taught me everything I know in this business, and I'm absolutely very grateful to her.
When you're preparing for a role, do you just sing the same role over and over and over while you're rehearsing, or do you try to do different things?
Well, depends, of course, and sometimes I prepare parallelly a couple of roles also. So of course I switch back and forth, and so. But of course we have to be very careful if we sing something very dramatic to stay in that genre, because voice behaves in a dramatic way.
That's what I wondered.
It's a little bit difficult to explain because it's not a tangible, anything tangible. So it has to be the voice behaves very, very differently. If you are in dramatic role, you have to sing only that. If you're in a very lyrical or a coloratura role, then you have to be particularly also careful, because so the voice doesn't expand too much, and so on.
So you wouldn't be singing two operas during the same time?
No, not if they are drastically different.
I see, but
In a technical way.
I see. We're talking about all the rave reviews you got, but when you sang Carmen with the LA Opera, you also got wonderful reviews, full-page stories about you. I mean, we were so proud in Los Angeles that you were our star.
Oh,
and you do live here, so does it feel close to you?
Of course. I feel this like my home. My little boy is born here in California, actually in Newport Beach. So, of course, I do feel wherever my child is born, I feel like a part of it. And of course, I've been here for almost 3.5 years. So, of course, I feel like at home.
Have you sung different roles with the LA Opera?
Yes, I did. I sang Giulietta in the Tales of Hoffmann back in 2002. I sang the Concert of Passion and Poetry also in 2003.
So since
and
you
now
moved
Carmen.
Here, since you moved to Los Angeles, you've been singing with the LA Opera?
Yes.
But that's not why you came, is it?
Actually not. I got married. That was the reason. Of course, I lived in Germany, I lived in Amsterdam, I lived in Yugoslavia. And then, of course, I got married. I came here to California and decided to stay.
Yeah,
Look at this beautiful weather. Who wouldn't stay?
We're glad. When you're called a mezzo-soprano. How do we know you're a mezzo-soprano? What tells the audience that?
Just a part, just a half of a soprano.
Is it half or is it lower?
But mezzo-soprano is like a half soprano, in fact, translated, right? So, well, I would think it's years and years of practice.
But is there a certain, like, if I heard you on stage, would I know you were the mezzo?
You would probably recognize it because the mezzo-soprano voice is supposed to be a little darker.
Darker, that's how you describe it?
And more comfortable in lower register.
I would say
notes.
lower, but darker is interesting.
Darker, yes.
So
that would be approximately this description.
And then the soprano, how do you describe the soprano?
Lighter, brighter, with the lighter top notes.
Could you sing soprano?
I could sing, as I did, also some roles which are borderline with the soprano, like for instance Giulietta in the Tales of Hoffmann or Santuzza in Cavalleria Rusticana. This is for instance, roles which lay in a register which is in between soprano and mezzo.
I see. You have to be an actress too. You have to be dramatic. Who teaches you how to act? First of all, you have to know how to sing. Then you have to know how to conduct yourself and make the audience love your character.
Yes, well, a lot of it is, of course, it's our nature, it's our personal feeling.
Is it?
Yes, but also it depends a lot on the stage director, who can help a lot. And also, I mean, in certain cases, he or she can even ruin you, you know. in sense that she or he wouldn't put a spotlight on you, or you know, depends on different ideas.
But do you take acting lessons for opera?
Not anymore, of course.
But you
We
did?
had that, yes, when I was going to university, of course, we had acting lessons.
You speak Serbian, German, Italian, and English.
As you see English, I've been trying.
and you sing in all of those.
Yes.
But you also sing in French.
I sing in
But do you
French.
speak French?
I don't speak French, but I can understand a lot. And of course, just the fact that I know at least 6 librettos by heart, or
well, that's what I mean. How do
I
you
know
them?
a lot of words, or I can easily connect because I know Italian, I speak Italian, so I can easily connect the language, Latin language, as well as Spanish.
But you just memorize that then?
Of course. Yes,
but with
a of course, thinking of with knowing every single word.
When you're singing in German, you understand everything you're
Yes.
singing. But also in French?
Oh, yes.
Oh, the same thing?
Yes, same thing.
Oh, because I wondered.
Yes.
And when...
The only thing that when I didn't understand, all what I sang was in Korea when I sang.
Did you sing it?
When I sang once in Korean. And it took me the longest time to learn one verse of it. So it was because I couldn't relate to any other language that I knew.
The sounds.
And the sounds, yes. And that was really difficult for me, but it was still fun.
What is your favorite role?
Oh, Carmen, definitely.
Is it? Is
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes.
You know, when you came to the U.S., you sang in Palm Beach.
That's right.
Don Carlo. You sang in Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
You've been with the L.A. Opera. You've been with the National
Kennedy
Washington.
Center in Washington, that's
yeah,
right.
the Kennedy Center in Washington, the Washington National, the Baltimore. Do you have a favorite venue? Do you sing differently in each one of these halls?
Well, fortunately, all of these halls have wonderful acoustics, and apart from Kennedy Hall, which is a little bit smaller, all these other halls were approximately 3,000 seats or so. So, of course, I always sing in the same way and always give same amount of voice. Or
you don't adjust?
No, I mean, not in that respect, no.
Say, we were talking about the American venues, but
Yes.
say the Deutsche Oper in
It's
Berlin.
smaller, a little bit smaller.
Oh, so-
Yes, as most of European theaters, in fact, are.
So when your conductor comes out, do you have to feel like this kind of feeling toward him, or who do you really depend on the most when you're on stage?
Yes, well, it's very nice and recommended when you have that fluid and same way of thinking about the role or a particular opera with a conductor that is supposed to conduct it, because it's very helpful if you have the same idea and same feeling for it. So that can be really very, very helpful.
So the conductor.
The conductor, and of course colleagues. If someone
Oh,
is
yeah,
if
colleagues.
someone is a very good actor, of course that inspires a lot.
Do you sing with a lot of the same people? Do you
Well,
come across them now and then?
yes, now more and more as the years go by.
Do you? Because I wondered, who
Of
do
course,
you,
yes.
have you sung with the most?
Oh, well, for instance, Placido Domingo, he conducted a couple of my performances in Washington, D.C. and here in Los Angeles Opera. John DeMaine conducted my performances with Orange County Opera last year, Salome. I'm seeing him again now for Samson and Delilah in February. Then also I'm supposed to sing with him in Madison, Wisconsin. So, of course, you know.
But it makes it more comfortable, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, yes.
Milena Kitic, we're so happy that you were with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. And I wanted to show your CD, too, because I was listening to it when I drove up to the studio tonight. I'm listening to it. It's so beautiful.
Thank
and your
you.
voice is really lovely. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
And don't go away, because we'll be right back with Dakin Matthews. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with playwright Dakin Matthews. He's an award-winning playwright and the artistic director of the Andak Stage Company. He's a professional actor and a professional director who abandoned the Bay Area 20 years ago to live in LA. You've been on the stage at the Taper and at the Amundsen doing what?
Mostly classical work, actually. When I first came down here, I had done about 25 years in regional theater, and came down here mostly because my children were getting to be college age, and one has to make a slightly better living to get the kids through college these days. So I came down really for the Olympic Arts Festival in 1984. I was doing a play in
Oh, that was so great, wasn't
Yeah.
it, that festival?
Yeah, it was really
Brilliant.
an amazing introduction to Los Angeles because the theater, the International Theater was so great. But I was doing a play about Sherlock Holmes and just took an apartment down here. And for about 5 or 6 years, I commuted between the Bay Area and Los
you
Angeles,
did.
and then finally moved down in 1990.
But did you just come down here for stage, or were you being in
No, I was actually
theater,
beginning to
movies?
beginning to start to explore the possibility of movies and television at that time, and so but first job that I got when I came down was a stage job, so I did a fair amount of stage while I was here, and then.
But you've done a
segued.
lot of TV, haven't you?
I've been very blessed. Yes, the 20 years have been good to me and my kids in college. So
Oh, that's good.
it's been a good 20 years.
You also worked at the Old Globe. And
I do. I'm
San
an
Diego.
associate artist there, and I'm the resident dramaturge.
Tell us what a dramaturge does.
Well, dramaturge is kind of a literary scholar who can either deal with the director or the actors or designers on texts. Now, sometimes they're classical texts, but sometimes a dramaturge's skills is helping a new playwright, finish his play or get the play ready for
You
stage.
do that too with
I work
new
mostly on the
playwrights?
classical texts. I'm a primarily Shakespearean dramaturge.
Yes, you've directed a lot of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And does it take a certain kind of knowledge to attack a Shakespearean play?
Yeah, it does. It certainly takes a sense of tradition about the plays, but it also, in my directing, it takes a certain sense of the text and what the text wants you to do. I really am a strong believer that Shakespeare was a playwright before he was a literary person, and therefore a knowledge of what Shakespeare intended when he wrote a script for the stage, trying to
I see
really
what you
mine that script for everything that Shakespeare put in there, because you figure he's going to be a better playwright than I'm going to be a director, so why don't I follow his directions instead of having my own?
But you talk about him being a playwright, and you've written adaptations, so you've paid attention to those words. You adapted Henry IV, right?
Yeah,
for Broadway?
that's been sort of a lifelong dream of mine. I started maybe 30 years ago.
Well, what do you do when you adapt Shakespeare? You don't
Well,
change the words, do you?
In this case, it's mostly a matter that he wrote 2 3.5-hour plays that cover one story. And two plays, yeah, part 1 and part 2, and rarely will you get a chance to see all of them. So what I did, along with Jack O'Brien, who's the artistic director at the Old Globe,
Oh, that's
was
where you worked with.
put the 2 parts together into one 3.5-hour, 4-hour evening, so that the whole story could be told at one sitting.
Well, you don't change the words, then you edit.
Well, you edit and rearrange and refocus, and sometimes you have to write some material to
That's
make
what I mean.
blends and
Do
things
you?
like
Can you
I
write?
do, yeah, I
Can you
write.
write Shakespeare's words?
I can write. Well, I can't write Shakespeare, but I can write iambic pentameter. People often
Iambic pentameter.
people often can't tell the difference, but I can.
I see, because Kevin Kline won an award, right? An
Yeah,
Emmy,
Kevin was our Falstaff, a Tony.
A Tony.
I think he won. I'm not sure if he won the Tony or the drama. I think he won the Drama Desk award for that, and the show won a Tony.
And you also won an award for the adaptation.
For the adaptation, yeah.
So that means you wrote the right words.
It means I did something right. They were very sweet and very generous to give me this award because it was a special one.
Did you spend a lot of time in New York when that was on?
I was in the play as well.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I was acting in it as well.
Oh, how great.
So I did. It was a wonderful. Made
So
my
what
Broadway debut
happens?
at 63.
Who was directing?
Jack O'Brien,
From
who's an
San
old friend of
Diego.
mine, and I am his sort of dramaturge. Whenever he does a Shakespeare play, I work with him.
So
on
he
the
comes
text.
to you to make sure that he understands the text?
Well,
or what?
he pretty much understands the text, but generally we sit down and he'll say, I want to do this play, help me to cut it if it needs to be cut.
I see.
And then come to the first week of rehearsals and help me explain to the actors what's going on in the text, and then stay around and coach the actors somewhat on the text.
Oh, so you do that, and then you were acting in it as
And
well.
then sometimes I act in it as well, so this one I was acting in, yeah.
Yeah, Jack O'Brien was wonderful. I was on the California Arts Council for a long time, and we always loved to fund the Old Globe, and he sat on panels for us. I mean, he does know his
Oh, he knows
work.
his stuff, yeah. And I work with him almost every year, I would say.
You've written a lot of original plays besides adapting or working on the classics. are they patterned after the classics?
Well, in some senses they are. I've taken to writing a lot more now than I did before. I wrote sporadically earlier on. Now I'm sort of in a writing mode, and I'm writing a lot. In some sense they are, is that I really do try to write good mouth-filling plays. You know, not film scripts masquerading as plays, but plays in which the actors really speak a lot about issues and about themselves.
So you've written Prince of L.A., Uncommon Players,
Uncommon Players,
and A Magic Christmas.
Yes, Magic Christmas will be staged next Christmas, as a matter of fact. We're looking
But
forward
what
to it.
about the Savannah option?
Savannah Option is a play that we're in rehearsal right now with, and it's a very eccentric play, but I love it. My actors seem to love it, so I'll talk about it.
Who wrote it?
I wrote it.
You did write it.
I wrote it.
And you're directing it?
My wife is directing it.
Oh, your wife.
My wife, she directs all my work. I trust her.
It's at the New Place Theater?
It's at New Place Theater Center, yeah. And it's really a two-hander. We call it two-hander. It's a love story for two mature people, both of them college professors, who fall in love, and over very intellectual discussions, because she's a biologist, a neo-Darwinist, and a Catholic, and he's a poet and kind of an agnostic. And
How do they fall in love?
Well, he is sent to her to find out about evolutionary psychology. He's thinking of writing poems about cavemen, and he wants to find out what the science is about what it was like to be, you know,
right.
Homo sapiens sapiens. So she explains evolutionary biology to him, and he explains what poetry is to her. And over the course of a year, they find themselves falling in love.
I love this because it says pasta, passion, and poetry.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, because she fixes him meals. She's Italian.
Oh.
She's a Florentine, and so they always have their conversations over pasta.
You never direct your own things?
I did direct Uncommon Players.
You
yeah,
did?
but mostly I don't. No.
Is it, can you, well, it's your wife, but can you accept another director
Oh yeah,
doing that?
I think so.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't. Often I write plays for myself, so I don't direct them because I'm in them, like Prince of L.A.
I see.
It's better to step outside, but it's also, I think, better for a playwright to step outside his play and let other people go to it, because sometimes there are things there that even the playwright himself is not aware.
Well, that's what I wonder. They can bring out things, can't they? A director can bring out things.
It does
that you-
happen. Some plays are written very technically, but some are kind of not automatic writing, but some the characters take over and kind of write the play for you, and you don't necessarily know everything that's going on in them, and other people coming at it, not having written it themselves, have other insights into it that you kind of go, oh, I didn't know I put that in there.
It's like a painter when his painting gets critiqued. You know, he goes, oh, I didn't realize that's what it was. We're speaking to you about directing and playwriting. You're the artistic director and founder, I guess, of ANDAC?
Yes, it's a very small theater. We have an intimate theater in the NoHo Arts District.
What does it mean, artistic director, then? Because we've talked about dramaturge.
Artistic directors generally make the choices of which plays and which artists will be working and what the schedule is.
Well, then you can pick your own plays all the time.
That's exactly what I'm doing. No, I will tell you the background story on this my wife and I own a small theater in the NoHo Arts District, which we built for the Antioch Company, which is a classical company in the NoHo Arts District that I used to work. I still work with them. And
but you were a co-founder of that too, weren't you? Yeah.
And so we finally managed to build a small theater, which I'd like them to perform in all the time. But when the times they can't perform, I've got this theater sitting there, so I just put my place in it.
Oh, so, and then you have your wife direct
And I have my wife direct them.
That's
It's a family
very
affair.
good.
And
So, but you do you read a lot of other people's plays and to make a time for them to be produced?
When I was doing the Antioch Company, we used to read a lot. We were mostly a classical company, but when people would submit scripts on classical themes, we would read those.
But with ANDAC, the same thing or
Nope.
not?
Nope.
You don't read other people's things?
Nope.
Really?
I've got some scripts I want to produce of my own, and
Oh,
we're going
that's
to do them.
interesting.
I also translate, so there are a number of translations that I want to keep producing to get them out there.
Oh, that's very interesting.
This is we've only been in existence for a year, and it's only to fill the gaps when the theater is vacant.
But
really.
you don't have, do you have an acting ensemble working with ANDAC Theater?
I have a lot of friends There is no actual company, though we are using some of the same actors over and over
But doesn't
again.
that happen a lot when you have a
Yeah,
stage
it's the
company?
best way to work, really. I was raised theatrically in companies all my life, and it really is the most fruitful and enjoyable way to work.
But because it's the same people?
Because
yeah.
your working methods are the same to some extent. You know and trust people.
You've been handpicked too, haven't you? You've auditioned to be in that company, more or less?
Sometimes
many
auditions,
times?
sometimes by by reference.
Uh-huh. So it makes it easier for you to do it. What hat do you like the best? Because, I mean, you do a lot.
Oh, I think primarily I'm an actor.
You are?
Really, yeah, that's really what my profession is. But actors don't get to actually decide when they work, Other people make those decisions.
Do you, since you're such a stage person and so involved in the classics, do you kind of look your nose down at TV and film?
No, oh dear, bought me a house and put my kids through college, and I love doing it.
Do you?
I love when I know a lot of actors don't like to do sitcoms. I love doing sitcoms.
Oh, you do?
Because they're very much like live theater, and they have really, good hours, and you work with the same people. They form a small company.
Are you writing anything else now?
I'm researching for a couple of plays that I want to write.
Yes, and on what path are they taking?
One of them, it will be a historical drama about George Washington. I did a series of historical dramas a few years back about Queen Elizabeth.
But see, to me, that fits into your genre, right? That fits into that classical thinking.
Yeah, I'm actually going to write a play of George Washington based on another play, which I don't want to mention because it's a sort of a new idea. And I'm thinking about I'm working on a trilogy of plays all set in the same room, and I've finished 2 of them, and I'm thinking I'm sort of working on the third kind of.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then I'm working on another translation. So.
Translation from?
I work mostly from Spanish now.
I was going to ask you, do you speak Spanish then?
I don't speak it very well. I'm sort of self-taught and I read it. I work in 17th century Spanish.
So what do you do?
Really
just get the feeling of what it's saying?
No, I mean I read Spanish very well.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, but I read 17th century Spanish, so I could order a carriage, but probably not a burrito.
So when you do that, you read that old Spanish.
I find the text and then I translate it into rhyming verse. Yeah, and I've been doing that for about 10 years now and really enjoying it. I've learned a lot.
And then where does that go? Where does that play go? Or that piece go?
Well, 3 of them have been produced.
Oh, they have?
Yeah, Auntie has produced 2 of them, and we've toured them to the International Festival of Spanish Plays.
Oh, they have? Oh,
yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoy translating.
That's tough for me, but it must be easy for you.
No, it's tough.
It's tough for all of us. I'm so glad you came, Dakin. Thank you very much
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you for being with us. And thank you for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles, 90017. And we want to thank Charlotte Ince for her artwork on the set today. So, bye-bye. See you next time.